Okay, so we are in production mode. We usually just kind of divide and conquer. This is going weathered wood. I'll move it aside. I will work on this basket. Zeb's working on everything going farm fresh. Do we want to paint that red bucket weathered wood too?
Yeah, I think the red bucket would go good weathered wood because it's going to go outside probably or get planted. I think it would be a good pairing. Plus the red's going to come through.
Yeah, so I'll look it together.
So we went thrifting for a lot of these small items, but every now and then you go through your home and you're like, I don't really love that anymore. I've had that about 5 years and it's looking a little dated. Doesn't really go with my current style. So what we like to do, our favorite thing, we call it shopping our home. We will go through and just paint things differently and use the same stuff. We have a few pieces that have been painted like 6-7 times.
They've got lots of chippy layers, let's just say that. And the good thing is that when you do that, you're really just investing the cost of maybe a little bit of paint and sealer. Home decor doesn't take a lot of paint, so you really could just order a few samples and what you like, and you can really paint a lot of smaller items, give them an updated look.
So this globe has some holes in it. Someone's taken in a marker and some highlighter. So we're just gonna cover the whole thing up and put some IOD transfers on it. Are you painting the inside?
Yeah, because I don't know if I'm gonna plant it, and it'll look weird if it's not painted.
Okay.
Or else I should put this on the turntable because it's a mess.
I'm gonna have to flip it upside down and paint the lower hemisphere, the southern hemisphere.
My pro tip is you can use your paintbrush to move your piece. Because then you don't mess up the paint finish.
Don't touch it with your fingers and put your fingerprints on there.
Yeah,
just move it with the brush.
It works.
So I had an idea with the bowls I wanted to try. If it doesn't work out, we can just paint them all one color. But I was thinking if we tape them off and paint them white or a different color, like two-tone wood. Be cool. Two-tone wood is like really coming in like with paint, and then the wood color, it's like it's kind of trending right now.
I don't know that we need to tape it off because that has a nice ridge. You just paint it and then just be careful on that.
And then maybe wipe it off if you get any.
Yeah.
But since all the bowls are matching, I thought it would be cool to make like a whole set.
But the thing is, are we gonna use milk paint so it's food safe? I mean,
we can mix some milk paint up.
So I like to paint one color at a time. So anything that's gonna be going the same color, all gets painted. No need to wash out a brush in between projects. This weathered wood covers amazing, and so it's really only gonna need one coat. This was shiny, so I might have to do some touch-up, but this metal candlestick is pretty dull.
So are we leaving this handle bent like this, or do I need to fix that?
You need to fix that.
Okay.
Whoa. You should always like secure the lid on the top of your dark and decrepit. That's what happens when you just kind of set it on there for 6 months.
Now it's like gel stain.
Well, you know. So this has a few chips. I'm just gonna come through it with dark and decrepit and just darken up the chips and give it a little bit of a new, fresh look. It's got built-in sealer and stain all in one. It's gonna cover up these imperfections where it's like chipped over time. It's not gonna look perfect, but I can put on a few coats and darken it. And it's gonna give it an updated look and not make it look so worn. Dark and decrepit is water-based and can go on the top of existing finishes like this, just to freshen them up.
So while I'm waiting on these other projects to dry, I'm gonna do the bowls. Since they might possibly be used with food, I don't know what the end user is gonna do with them. I'm using Farmhouse Finishes because it's bio-certified food safe, and it's a true milk paint. So I'm just gonna mix up about what I think I'm gonna need. I'm using light cream. Usually you mix up 1 part paint powder to 1 part water. You can use an immersion blender or a whisk. An immersion blender is probably going to give you your best results, but on a small amount like this, I like to use just a regular old whisk. So I'm not going to mask it. Let's see if I can pull it off. It's got this nice lip on there, and I'm going to try to just be really neat. I did mix the paint up a little on the thick side, so hopefully it just goes right on there.
All right, so this dark and decrepit has dyed. You can see that you can still see a little bit of variance in tone, but it did kind of even out the parts that were all messy and I want it to look a little bit aged, so I'm just gonna come hit it with my white wax. And that can go over the dark and decrepit. Now you can't put dark and decrepit over white wax, but white wax can go over dark and decrepit. You always want to wax last. So I'm just gonna kind of haphazardly get this on here, and then I'm gonna come back with my buffing brush and pull some of it off. I always like to go back in with my buffing brush, which you don't have to do, but just especially when I'm doing something with lots of nooks and crannies, and make sure that I'm getting off kind of the excess wax. And I do not wait for it to sit when I'm doing white wax. Like, I go right into it. I feel like this kind of smears it around, and this brush has more give than the waxing brush, so it just gets it down on all over the place. Then I come back with a rag and wipe it back. You gotta give it a little bit of elbow grease, but you can bring back that dark tone, and then the white just kind of stays down in the cracks, and it gives it more of a weathered look as opposed to just the straight up brown. And if you wait too long and you don't wipe this back, it won't come off. So you need to get to it right away. Okay, so I've got a damp rag, and I'm just gonna come through here and pull off some of that weathered wood, pull out the base coat, and then when that dries, it's gonna be ready for some white wax.
And while you weren't watching, I painted this to be the Farm Fresh color. It's gonna be like a fun paintbrush holder or some sort of organizer.
Or whoever buys it can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
I'm using a damp rag instead of sandpaper because when you sand metal, sometimes you sand it down to like the shiny part. So it's better to just use a damp rag, and it'll take me back to the base color instead of to where it's shiny. And this has so much detail, it just comes off really pretty. You can see. I'll let that dry and it'll be ready for white wax.
We're going to be doing some IOD transfers on here, and I want them to stick really well. There's a little bit of raised ridges and things where the mountain ranges were on this globe. So we're just hitting it with some liquid patina in crystal clear chandelier, and once that dries, we'll be ready to put the transfers on, and they will stick really well. There won't be any dust on there.
It's a good prep. You always want to make sure whatever sealer you're using to prep before your transfer that it's A, completely dry, and B, that it's something that's all natural. Harsh chemicals can make the transfers peel up and not adhere as well. Also, if you don't let it dry completely, that can also be a problem. So I'm coming back with DIY's white wax, all natural, water-based. You can use it inside. You don't have to worry about getting on your skin. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just gonna put this on here and then I'm gonna pull it back. I'm just going to wipe some of it off. And you can always come back and add like a coat of clear wax if you're worried that you took too much of the white wax off. Next step is to make this world beautiful.
I'm gonna let Jami do the transfer. She always has the best transfer placement anyway.
Putting a transfer on a round surface is not easy and does require patience. Where's that tape at?
That's why I'm letting her do it.
Oh, thanks.
The bowls are all painted, essentially 2.5 coats of light cream. I made it up a little bit thick because I knew it was gonna take a little bit to get the coverage over this brown. But now I'm sealing them up with Sweet Pickins hemp oil. It's also food safe, and that's gonna work great. It's also gonna nourish the wood.
And we used farmhouse finishes because we didn't want anything chipping off, and farmhouse finishes is made not to chip. So I'm gonna cut this. Hopefully I do it the correct way. I don't know.
Just cut out what you want.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna hold it steady. You put it on.
All right.
Jami's just got the little plastic applicator, and it's working pretty good.
Curved surfaces are not easy, and you will not get it perfect. So if you're a perfectionist,
You might get a little bit of cracks and chips because it sometimes to go around a curved surface, it tears a little bit when you're applying it. For us, it just makes it look a little more weathered and aged, and we like it all the better.
I need it to stop moving, and it's not gonna stop moving, so I'm just doing my best.
Now you see the struggle I was having trying to paint it.
It's all right, it's coming off, see?
Yep.
All right, I can lift a little, I think. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay, let me push that down.
All right, so Jami's wrapping up the transfer over there. I'm gonna hit this with just a little bit of wet distress. I didn't do anything to prep this, even though I painted off camera. I just wiped it down and then went straight on with the DIY paint, no sanding or anything. It'll stick on there really well, and I'm just gonna take it off the high spots with this rag and give it kind of an aged, worn look, and then I'm gonna seal it with the liquid patina.
When you're working on a curved piece like this, you definitely want to break up your transfer into bite-sized pieces. So the more you can break it up, the easier it's gonna be to work because you're not putting it on a flat surface. So it kind of has to mold to the shape. And then you can just layer pieces. Like if something rips somewhere and looks dumb, just layer a little piece over it until you get a look that you want. It's the same thing we did with the mannequin. I had some weird edges and I just put transfer over transfer until it looked correct.
So when I've got a shiny surface like this metal, I'm gonna put the first coat on here really quick and then smooth it out as fast as I can. You don't wanna overwork it. If you start dragging it, you can really spread that pigment around, especially on a shiny surface like an enamel toolbox. I don't know that it's enamel, but it's shiny like enamel. If you overwork it, what we mean by that is you'll start peeling that paint right off because you'll activate it. It's water soluble and the liquid patina is water based and it'll pull that paint right up if you work it too much.
Sorry, it's getting real over here. So I passed off the globe to Zev because as much as I love trying to put a transfer on a moving target, I feel like adding a little bit of transfer to this tote is going to be much easier.
She did most of it. I'm just finishing this last one.
I love it that I have a partner that I could be like, okay, I can't do this anymore. You're like coming in for the 9th inning because the pitcher is tired.
I feel like I came in the 7th.
The 7th inning is the last piece.
I'm the middle reliever.
Get that sandpaper. Let's sand it a little bit because we do have a few imperfections. So like we sand it just a little bit, it'll make it look kind of blended together.
It did add some nice age. It picked up all of the brush strokes underneath.
Yeah, I think we do the same thing to this to make it. Sometimes I feel like they look segmented, you know, like it's not attached. But then when you sand it, it kind of makes two become one. Before you sand it, make sure you do a little bit of burnishing. You're just going to push that transfer down. I like to use the leftover backer and just go over top of it and make sure there's no air bubbles.
I'm going to make this paper towel do double duty and just wipe this white wax back.
I'm going to roll this up, stick it back in the tube for a later date and a third project.
Maybe paint the gold.
Actually, no, can we just white wax the numbers?
Yep.
I feel like it'll
sit down in there.
It needs something. It's just too, we need to just white wax all the metal.
So this one didn't make it. This project, I was trying to straighten out the handle and I broke it off. We're gonna try to glue it with the construction adhesive. If not, it might just be a lost handle cause.
It's okay. I think we paid like $1 for it or $2, so no harm, no foul. I really love the way the white wax transformed these pieces. These bowls are very mid-century chic. I am glad that we did leave some of the natural wood in there, and I love the transformation of the globe, the tote. Just looks good. Now everything's ready to go in the shop.
So if you've got some home decor that's been kicking around and you're tired of it, get out some paint.
Make sure you guys hit up JamiRayVintage.com for the paint and products used here today. If you're interested in purchasing these items, give it a day or two, head over to JamiRayVintageHome.com, and that is where we list our unique items that we finish ourselves. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.